Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I've been spending some time this week with the 2016 Audi Q3. This is the brand's smallest SUV of three. They also build the Q5 and the much larger Q7. Now for 2016, they gave it quite a few little updates both out here in styling and inside. So let's check it out. The 2016 Audi Q3 indeed comes to showrooms this year with a few styling updates and upgrades inside and out that are welcome since our last test drive of the brand's compact luxury crossover SUV. These upgrades start with a new grille and headlamp design that's more in line with the brand's latest products. On a prestige trim level here, this means a new set of full LED headlamps that adjust and light your way around corners at night. LED daytime running lights, a staple of Audis for some time now, are also redesigned. Taillights also received a redesign for their LED signature look at night. S-line trim is standard on the Prestige model. What used to be black lower cladding at the rocker panels and wheel arches is now body color for a more premium look. Wheels here are 19-inch alloys. Audi calls an off-road design, though if off-roading is really your thing, you'd likely want smaller wheels. Inside, heated leather seating is standard here up front, as are power adjustments for both the driver and the passenger. They're comfortable and have a wide range of adjustments, but there are no memory settings to save your positions. The design in typical Audi form is businesslike and buttoned down, a theme I very much appreciate. Materials are of an excellent quality no matter where your hands roam, and switchgear is typically German, meaning it feels solid and expensive when you use it. One of the things I really wanted to point out here that sets this apart from a lot of the crossovers that I test is how it feels sitting in it, the seating position here. And basically what I mean is, a lot of crossovers, you feel like you're sitting in a bathtub because they're basically cars where they've raised the belt line up and you're still sitting down low like a car. You've got the hood and the dash up high, sort of blocking your field of vision. Here, you're sitting up high. You feel like you're sort of sitting on this car, so you're looking down on the dash, down on the hood, such that you have that SUV feel from behind the wheel still. Now that may go in coming generations, but here, this still feels like you're sitting in an SUV, and so I like it. And that really has to do with not only the seating position, but the angle of the steering wheel and how high it is. Now, yes, you can make all sorts of adjustments here, seating the whole 9 yards, but this is just a really nice feel. Space inside is plentiful for this class. The power opening panoramic roof really amplifies this sense. Storage space, however, is limited here and there. On the console, for instance, there really isn't a convenient place to lay your phone or other devices. Sitting back here in the back seat, I would say this is probably middle of the class when it comes to space. Now, legroom, as you can see, I've got plenty of legroom right now. These seats are only about mid-range, which means they can go forward and they can come back. If they came back much further, my knees would be up against them. The other thing is the seating position here. A little bit on the lower side, I'd say. As you can see, my knees are a little bit up. I don't really have a lot of support right under here, and so if I put my feet forward like that, they would be down. I just think if I were on a long trip back here, I'd probably be moving around quite a bit to try to find a comfortable space. Now, there are vents back here. That's a good thing. And of course, headroom is also a good thing. There is a power port back here, but just like up front, there's no USB ports. The rear seats do offer something unique in this class, an opening pass-through in the center, allowing long items that'll still afford you seating for two. And of course, they do fold down in a 60-40 split with an easy pull of a latch for a near-flat cargo floor. Under that is a temporary spare tire, always a good thing with an SUV. And of note, if you have the top-end Bose audio system like this one does, the subwoofer lives in the center of that spare tire. The interior wins my praise, though in this tester a bit dark and cold with its colors and trims. I tend to like the warm woods and earth tones, but that's a personal preference. In all, the interior scores 5 of 5 stars. On the technologies, I have to say I'm a little let down by the user interface of the updated Alu-Optic MMI infotainment system. It seems less intuitive to use on the go than the previous versions, forcing you to do all things through a single knob and 4 satellite buttons. Menu layouts require that you page back and forth with some level of effort to do simple tasks like change your stations or find your presets, or even the media in which you're getting your music from. Add this to the fact that there's no USB port, Apple CarPlay, or Android Auto functionality, and it's hardly competitive. The good news is that once you get past the effort level of using the system, audio quality from the Bose hardware is flat out phenomenal. All in, however, the technologies here earn only 3 of 5 stars. Moving on to powertrain, under the hood of the Q3 is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with direct injection and turbocharging. As the Q3 rides on an older platform architecture, it isn't the latest generation of this engine, but here, this one still cranks out 200 horsepower. The engine comes with a 6-speed automatic transmission with full sport mode and manual control. And while the Q3 is available with front-wheel drive, our Q3 had Audi's well-known and fully automatic Quattro all-wheel drive. And 60. So here's the thing. 200 horsepower, it's not exactly class competitive. Most of its competitors are right around 240 horsepower or better, with the same size engine or slightly larger. What's different here is the fact that because this isn't as highly tuned, it's a little bit more refined. So if horsepower isn't your number one thing, and you like refinement, maybe a quieter engine, that's what this is. And with this transmission, the 6-speed automatic, it works very well. This transmission actually impresses me very well when it comes to how well it shifts, when it shifts, and how it shifts when you ask for it. Meaning if you put your foot in it, you get a nice downshift, and there you go. Coming into a corner here, it just downshifted for me automatically. So it really is your friend in that way. And of course, you've got the manual shift gate where you can shift manually if you want, and there's paddle shifters here. Now I'm not demonstrating them, but they do work pretty well, as good as most paddle shifters do out there. But I think the big payoff for the fact that this isn't as highly tuned as some of its competitors is fuel economy. In my week I got 26 mpg with this, and that's quite a bit more than the window sticker promised, and that's a balance of city and highway, and that's a nice thing. Fuel economy was indeed impressive, as the EPA rates it at 20 mpg city, 28 mpg highway, and 23 mpg combined, which, as I said, I easily beat. This and the engine's refinement makes for pretty good compensating factors for it not having competitive power. All in, the powertrain rates 4 of 5 stars. Having test driven the Q3 more than once before, I've always said and will continue to say that one of the nice things about this vehicle is the fact that even though it is the entry level for their crossover line, it feels every bit as expensive, every bit as premium as their more expensive models like the Q5 and the Q7. And so what that translates to in terms of handling here is that even though I'm getting a lot of road feel like you'd expect in a German road sedan, it's not harsh. The isolation level from the harsh, the rough, is actually very good, which means it feels solid and it feels of quality. But at the same time, I'm getting enough road feel through the steering here where I still feel connected. I'm part of the driving experience. And when it comes to throwing it into a curve, it actually has a pretty good steering feel, good reaction, and not a lot of body roll like you'd expect in a top-heavy SUV. Just like a sedan, just taller. Now, if you watch my videos, one of the things you know is this wouldn't be one of my crossover or SUV test drives if I didn't bring this thing out here to the desert washboard road. And that's because even though this isn't real true off-roading, it's a gravel road. An SUV or crossover should be able to do this and still feel just as good as it does out on the pavement. And the main thing about the washboard road is it really tests a vehicle in ways that even off-road trails don't, and that is because this vibrating surface can really show you where the weak points are in the structure and the suspension and the overall tuning of the chassis. So what I'm finding here is this is a vehicle that's clearly tuned for the pavement, which means it's got a stiff ride, it's got a stiff chassis, it's made for giving you a handling experience out on the highway, because out here what I'm getting is a lot of harshness. I'm getting actually a little bit of rattling in the front suspension, and I don't mean rattling like it's going to fall apart rattling. I don't know if you can hear that, but what it is it feels like either the shock mounts or the lower control arm mounts are just rattling a little bit over this ribbed vibrating surface, and it's disappointing a little bit, honestly, because this is an expensive vehicle and one you really want to have feel like it's solid, whether you're out here on the gravel road or on the pavement. So what we've established here is that the Q3 does well on the pavement where it's likely to live 99% of the time. but because of its sporting ride and handling on the pavement, even the mild gravel roads can make it lose its polish. On balance, however, it still earns 4 or 5 stars in the chassis department. When it comes to safety, even the relatively long-lived Q3 remains front of the class in crashworthiness, earning a top safety pick honor from the IIHS, passing all of their major tests with a good rating. It misses top safety pick plus only because it doesn't yet offer automatic crash prevention features. All of this comes down to my last measure of any vehicle, and that's quality feel. And here, I honestly never once expected to be disappointed, and I wasn't. Fit and finish on this and most Audis I've tested are top-notch inside and out. It earns 5 of 5 stars. Well folks, wrapping it up for the Audi Q3, let's have a look at the specs. Now as you can see here, pricing on this one right between $40,000 and $45,000. And at that price, it's right in line with some of its competitors like the Lincoln MKC and the Lexus NX. Those are the two close ones, I think, among the many that you can really sort of compare this to. But in that way, when I look at value, I look at the fact that even though they've added some features for this year, it's still missing a few things like some of the advanced crash safety features that the others offer, some of the driver assistance systems that a lot of people are really looking for today as an option. But even still, the one thing this offers that some of the other don't is a sense of driving dynamics that really comes with the Audi brand. So overall though, when I look at value, I really have to look at how it stacks up against competitors in all areas. And in that way, I put that at 4 stars. When you put it in with everything else we've already talked about, we're at 4 stars for the review. I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride. Well, that was a lot of fun. I really had a good time here. Now, if you like the test drive you just saw, click on the link right here on our screen. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I test drive 1, sometimes 2 vehicles every week. Plus, we have a new video almost every single day. There's always something new. So stay tuned.